That's like the moment where I realized, like, oh, I don't know if I really want to live with strangers. So I see like the both sides of the spectrum, I guess. Like I see how like living with strangers could be better than living with your friends.
Yeah.
Because I'm living in a situation right now with strangers, but it's chill. I don't ever see them.
Because they're not strangers now.
Even like we have little conversations and stuff here and there about like sports or about like the apartment, like whatever. Yeah, I know him enough, but I think most of it is the fact that I see him like once every 4 months. Honestly, like they're never there.
That's true.
It's like I'm living alone. So I guess the key to roommates is to live alone. Yeah. But even in Florida, in certain cities, they still give you both. Like Miami, I'm pretty sure they gave you both.
Yeah.
Back in Brevard County, we used to have the like waste management, like the trash company. They gave us a trash can, and then we had a recycle can too. That they would come, and the truck would take both.
Yeah, and that's usually how it is in like I feel like neighborhoods or like homes, but in apartments, it's not like that a lot of times.
Not at all. No.
Like I'm pretty sure the apartment that we're moving into is not like that either.
I'm pretty sure we asked them, and they were like,
nah.
I never even thought about race at all, or them being white or being black. But then as a young child, I would get around black kids, and then one of the things that I was always met with, like by the younger black kids, is you talk white. Mm-hmm. You talk real. I'm like,
I was gonna ask you because we have had, I feel, pretty different childhood experiences
in general.
Yeah, which goes back to, like you said, it has a lot, not a lot, but it has a good amount to do with race because you are full black. I'm biracial, you know? So my mom is African, for those who are listening / watching. My mom is African American and my dad is Caucasian. So therefore it makes me biracial. And so, like, growing up, I got that a lot too. I got that a lot from, when I look at, like, the way I talk, I definitely got that a lot from the black community in terms of the white community. I didn't really get like the whole you talk white as much as like you're different, like you're like my token black friend.
Oh, that's what like
not, it wasn't a thing of that's what verbally has said.
It was just like the
microaggressions I was talking about.
That
and if
is
I didn't
a form of microaggression. I didn't have been in that situation or seen that. It's made me realize, because of my dad, like, okay, this is what's happening, maybe let me reach out for help. Or let me reach out and talk to somebody, or like let me figure out, like, let me like not bottle it up and like make it grow into an issue. Because I've seen people do that, people in my family, and I've seen how that doesn't work for them. I don't think bottling up anything helps, which is a part of the reason why the app that we're working on like a health-related medical app. Has so many applications for people with PTSD and mental health, because it makes it more accessible to be open and getting help, honestly. Yeah. So I feel like my dad, to answer your question, I feel like my dad played a huge role in that, because it made me perceive the world differently, like think about life and think about where I am differently.
Yeah.
In terms of being more aware. But I feel like social media highly affects people's mental health. I feel like especially at a young age, people start living in an echo chamber. And what I mean by that is when you have like someone who's like in middle school, 12 or something, and they have social media now because it's accessible to them. They have Twitters, Instagram, whatever, and then they start getting attacked, like bullied or something, and they only are aware of what's around them. So their maybe like 50 followers of people at their school may seem like the whole world to them. So when everyone's like, fuck you, you're fat, you're ugly, that's why they start like from a young age being like, oh, I want to kill myself, or start cutting themselves. Doing something like that because they think the whole world's out to get them when it's really just like a small percentage. The minute we started talking, I was like, I don't do the talking stage. It's like, it's either we're in a relationship or we're not.
Yeah.
Like,
and the thing is, like, now, obviously, a year later, I'm like, oh, that makes sense. Like, that worked for us. But at the time when you said that, I was like, what the hell? Yeah, because I was like, well, what do you mean? And you're like, well, right now, you're single, I'm single, we're doing our own thing, we're talking,
we're getting
to know each other. And if it comes to a point where we feel like we want to be exclusive, then we'll have that conversation. And I was like, okay. And that's another thing too, which again goes back to, I feel like, how you're slightly different.
I just think about things on a bigger scale.
That's not a thing that many guys who are like 16 through 20, probably older than 20.
Probably like 30.
Let's be real. Men don't mature until they're like 40 something. But yeah, like.
Shade? What the hell?
No, it's true. I actually read that. Men don't mature until they're 42, like fully mature.
Oh, okay. I'll start. I would say definitely
if you really want to make money and be happy making money and make your money work for you, number one, I would say find a way to make money off of shit that you actually like to do.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because that'll just make it easier.
Invest in yourself.
Yeah, invest in yourself. Because if you're going to work every day and you hate work and you hate what you're doing, and like a lot of kids our age, we've talked about this, have no idea what they want to do, which is like a very common thing. And it's a very broad question to ask a 20-year-old, like, what do you want to do for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
But if you find things that you truly are passionate about, for example, like, we get paid to make a podcast.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I get
Hobbies.
paid. Yeah, like,
I'm talking about.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just like multiple revenues, what we were saying earlier.
Exactly. I get paid to make shirts and merchandise and do pop-up shops and shit.
Yeah.
And, like, doing that, it's shown me, like how we talked about, like, I used to really just want to go in med school, and that's it. And then I saw the debt. Then I started realizing there's other ways to make money. There really is.
It's not
so
as
like,
hard as it looks.
Yeah, it's not as hard as it looks. So I would do the research, and I would start small, like with apps like Acorns. That's a really good app. And Stash App and Acorns is probably the top two. And they what they do that I also like is they give articles that break down how to budget, how to invest.
Yeah,
and
they
like
got a little learn tab.
Yeah, they have like a learn tab, so you can go there and really like learn. And another thing is, I feel like we're living in 2019, honestly, and there's no excuse to not know anything because we have Google. Yeah, we have Google.
That is true.
We have Google and
YouTube, bro. Like, you can learn anything.
You can learn anything.
Yeah.
So like, if someone really wants to learn how to invest and how to do financial like literacy, you could even hit us up.
Yeah,
honestly,
exactly. Oh,
you could even hit. You know what I mean? Like, reach out to someone
smarter than us. They're gonna be almost like creatures. When it gets to a level like that, I'm talking artificial intelligence that has creative consciousness.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
We're done.
Yeah, exactly. And they get out into the world and they just analyze humans. Because that's how that Ex Machina movie ended.
Yeah.
She killed everyone, escaped, and then went off into a city just so she could analyze what humanity is.
Yeah.
I feel like when AI looks at us and then they're like, oh, they're obsolete. Like I feel like that's just coming. You know what I mean?
And there's so many, and the thing is with humans, there's a lot of issues, right? So like there's human error. That's why like now there's not as many people who have factory jobs anymore because that's way more expensive to take care of somebody who has this like their hand got cut off from a factory.
It's a robot
Then
changing a part.
Exactly. Yeah. That on top of that, also what separates AI from humans too is the humanity part as well. Like especially if AIs do gain a consciousness, it's one of those things where they're looking at us like what like. Everything to them is logistical. Everything is this, and this is why it's this, and all the knowledge is just here. Humans have a lot more, we have emotions, like we have, you know, I feel like our emotions a lot of times, even no matter how logistical of a person you are, unless you literally are a sociopath who it's hard for you to have emotions, other than that though, usually like...
What if you're like emotionally scarred, damaged, and you're like internalizing it?
Yeah, but
which
even
can
then,
lead to like you being a sociopath. Anyways,
yes.
Like my mom, she's the biggest Star Trek fan, and like we always watch Star Wars. All those movies are 100% just about aliens.
Yeah.
And like being in space and stuff like that. So like the concepts and the idea of aliens, it's always been like around. You know what I mean? But I didn't actually start like sitting down and thinking like, yo, what if aliens are real? Or like, what are aliens? Or like, what would they even look like? Like, where did the story stem from? I didn't start doing any of that stuff until probably like, I don't know, maybe like a few years before you. We're still both like mad young, so it's like, up until a certain point ago, we were just focused on fucking nothing.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
To my knowledge, someone just like, who goes out and does good. I was always like super intrigued with like people who had money or power, fame, and they use that to like give back, just trying to like put other people on. So that's always been like a main focus on like whatever moves that I'm making, try to help people, and then that's like kind of translates to the moves that I'm making right now in terms of like in the medical field. I want to be in like the medical field because of helping people, honestly. And then in terms of this podcast, like the reason I'm even starting this podcast is just to create a voice, create a platform to where we can talk about real issues that would be helping people. You know what I mean? Same thing with like when I was 16 or 15 years old, in 2015, I started my first brand, and ever since then I've blown it up for like 5 years straight. We've sold in like 2 or 3 countries internationally, so globally we're selling in multiple countries. I've had sponsors and for like the business moves that I made, and mentors too, and they've kind of helped push me into the right direction. I would say. So it all started as a kid.
It's totally up to their discretion. There's no like, and a lot of people don't know that like the collecting company that's your college. So how it works is like when you graduate, the check that you have for debt from your college, they send that off to a collection company who gets that money, and they don't give you an option to choose like which collection company you're gonna get. So most of the time, I think the biggest one in this country is Navient.
I have Nelnet.
Navient?
No, Nelnet.
Oh, Nelnet?
Yeah.
I think Navient's a scam though, like a scam.
No. Navient does scam.
Yeah, I think I
they
watched
talked about it on the
Patriot
Patriot Act. Yeah, how that's like a whole thing that like is like backed by the government, but it's just like stealing money from college students and graduates.
Yeah,
it's like the craziest thing. Yeah,
and
that's crazy.
I even like didn't even know.
I had Navient. I was like, what the fuck? What am I getting these emails for?
To me, it means basically like just staying locked in, staying focused
Yeah.
on the goal at hand, which is to be in your bag, which is to get a bag. Or at least for us, or for me, I would say. You know what I mean? Like I said, it could mean different things to different people, and it's like up for interpretation. But the way I intended it to go was for people to really look at that title and be like, okay, I kind of want to be in my bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, just brings the conversation up. And I think the point of this podcast really is to bring conversations up.
Exactly.